Hey y'all, it's Lauren Lahas, and I have a favor to ask from the people in Denver and surrounding areas. Now, this year I'm gonna go for it and start my podcast called The Growth Movement. Now, I know what you're thinking. Girl, the world doesn't need another podcast, and yes, it does, because it's me. And I know you don't know what I mean by that until you tune in. If any of you are like me, you're sick and tired of the garbage just thrown at you constantly on social media, day in and day out. You're sick and tired of the regurgitation because it seems like no one out there has an original thought. One person says something clever or funny, and all of a sudden that's everything that you see for the next few weeks to a month. It's like, yo, get some original thoughts over here. Okay, fine, it's not that serious. I'll calm down for a second. But you know what I mean. There's a lack of authentic voices out there. And if it's one thing that I am, it's authentic. I couldn't be fake even if I tried. My objective with the growth movement specifically is I want to enact change. I want to be the change I wish to see in the world. Now, change doesn't begin and it just doesn't end. It's caused amongst the tension. And I want to cause that tension, right? How fun, how delicious. But how do I do that? By having the hard conversations, asking the tough questions, seeking out people's stories. One of the biggest issues that I see in society is people think they're alone in their struggles, they're alone in their thoughts, and that's not true. There are people out there who have been through what you've been through and have made it to the other side. There are people out there who are so inspiring and genuine, and that's what I'm seeking, and that's what I want to be. So, without further ado, this is what I'm looking for. So the first few conversations that I'm trying to have on the growth movement specifically is I'm seeking the 30-somethings. I don't know why society tries to write women off at a certain age. And I thoroughly don't understand how they picked 30. Because I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I didn't start living until I turned 30. I am the best possible version to date. And I love this decade, and I wasn't anticipating how much I appreciated it because of how society tried to frame turning 30. There's so much to unpack here, and I want to talk about it. So I'm seeking the 30-somethings, right? My parameters on that one, you gotta be 30, and you have to be a woman. I'm not speaking to men at this moment, but I want to speak to women in their 30s on that one. Next up is the plus size baddies. I'm looking for women who are size 14 and up. I want to talk about our lives, dating, fashion, our comments, our concerns. I also think there are some bad habits being developed in the plus size community, and I want to nip it in the bud, right? And so I want to talk about those things as well. And that might be a little bit of a touchy subject, but I'm coming from a different perspective that I don't see a lot online or on social media. And for the women that reach out to me on that one, we can have a conversation so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. You also can peep my TikTok and my YouTube because I've touched a little bit on these topics. And so I would always encourage anyone to do that so you kind of gauge my personality. I'm very assertive, very blunt, very honest. Again, I'm not afraid to go there. And that is the whole purpose of the growth movement. Now, after that, I'm going deep. Next up is the toxicity in organized religion. This is a topic that I will revisit over and over because I've had enough. Christianity has been hijacked by some of the most hateful, malicious, vile people, and I'm gonna do whatever I can do personally to share the true message of Jesus and what it means to be a Christian. I also just want to state that I personally believe that God is bigger than Christianity. I feel like Christianity puts God in this very small box, and he is way bigger than that. I just want to throw that out there for anyone who's interested in talking about that. That's not gender inclusive. I don't mind men joining in on that conversation. But again, the toxicity of organized religion, that is a topic that I will revisit over and over. So the last topic for the growth movement specifically is mommy issues. So again, going back to women, my target age and demographic is late 20s and up, right? That was what my book was about. It was about my own mommy issues and my childhood. And that is a topic of conversation that I also, again, will revisit because I can't find a woman my age, younger, older, or whatever, who doesn't have some form of mommy issues. It's a rarity, unfortunately, that I find a woman who has a good relationship with her mother. And I want to do my part to make sure that zillennial, millennial women are the generation that breaks that cycle. I want us to have better relationships with our daughters so they're not here trying to get people together to have these same conversations in 10, 15, 20 years, right? So that one is a little bit touchy. I'm gonna bring the Kleenex, I'm gonna bring the wine, because it is something that's very hard to talk about. But again, I'm all about causing that tension, because what's gonna happen amongst that tension is change, right? So I will always seek people of color. I think that there's so much to unpack in the Black and Latino communities. That's where I'm venturing out first and foremost. I'll be honest, I talk entirely too much about Black issues in the Black community, Black culture, whatever, for only being a African American, as I like to refer to myself as. I am a Black Mexican American, but I will always acknowledge that while I have my own perspective and I have my own experiences, they are not the same as those who are fully Black, who are darker than me, have a different hair texture. And I think where a lot of people in society right now get it wrong when they talk about Black issues in the Black community is that they don't have Black people present. Make that make sense to me. And I don't want to make that mistake. Right now, Latinos, I said Latinos, I'm coming for y'all. We need to congregate. We need to have these hard conversations, because if the last year has taught us anything, it has brought to light how divided the Latino community is. And again, I will do my part. I will do whatever I can to right the ship, because what's happening in the Latino community is sad. And a lot of us are bringing certain issues to light, and I'm getting so much backlash. Like, I bring up the colorism in our communities. I bring up the machismo, the prejudice that a lot of Latinos have against Mexicans. Yeah, I said it, and I'm gonna bring it up again. And this past election, you know what? We'll have this discussion. Now I'm gonna be one honey. I'm gonna keep it one honey. I don't think that I have the temperament at this moment to talk to Latinos for Trump, okay? I'm just gonna be real. I am looking for Latinos who are of like mind. Now, I consider myself an independent, even though I am a registered Democrat, because I found out the hard way that you can't vote in primary elections in the state that I was at if I didn't pick a side, right? Because I had always been an independent, but I am left-leaning anyway, okay? So in regards to the Latino community specifically, I think it starts with having these conversations. I think that we just need to bring so many issues to light, right? And we're being exposed as a community right now. And so that's, again, a topic of conversation that I will continue to bring up and find different perspectives. I will get to a point where I will bring in Latinos for Trump, Republican Latinos, okay? I'm not there yet, and I'm just gonna say it. I think that goes for everyone that I'm looking for, right? Just knowing where my thought process is, where my moral compass lies. Again, look me up on social media. I wanted to start my podcast like a year or so ago, and it just wasn't the right time. And so I took that time to go to social media. I've been way more consistent with posting about my ideas, about my perspectives, so you can gauge where my mind is at. And if you think we'd be a good fit, right? So please reach out to me. My email is info@lavilauren.com. You can DM me at Lauren Lajas on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So we can get together, we can have a conversation. I am looking at where I tape this in either Lakewood or the Rhino area. I have a few options that I'm looking into, so I am serious about this. Reach out and see if you're gonna be a proper fit. I'm doing a lot right now. I just started my LVL's Creative Corner, so I will always seek out creatives, because again, I'm trying to tell those stories and have those topics of conversation there. GP Energy is my girly things. That's my women only, girls only blog and vlog, whatever I do with that. So for the more lighthearted topics of conversation, I can't always talk about politics and religion and the turmoil that's happening in our world, okay? I gotta keep it lighthearted. I make jokes out of things I shouldn't make jokes out of. I can be inappropriate, and so that's what GP Energy is for. That's where I talk about like other things. So reach out if you're interested in that aspect. And yeah, I am so excited to meet so many of y'all, and let's be the change. Let's start having these hard conversations because they are long overdue. Society, social media, they are wanting more authentic voices, and I'm just trying to be one, and I'm trying to seek out others who are trying to do the same. So